Hi, I'm Lisa, the artist behind Lachri Fine Art. It is Tuesday, so I'm here to critique one of your original paintings or drawings. If you have an original painting or drawing that you would like to submit for critique, go to my website at lachri.com/critiques. That link is below in the video description, and that is where you will submit. This week's submission comes from artist Amanda Siegelson. She has completed this portrait using colored pencil. You can view more of her work over at her blog. That link will be below in the video description. While Amanda is new to colored pencil, she is not new to art. She had started with oil painting, so she has quite a bit of experience in painting portraits. And you can tell, wow, this piece is amazing. The shine on the nails, her eyes, just the accuracy, her hand looks incredible. You are an amazing artist. Now, when I compare this to your reference photo, your skin tones are a lot lighter than the reference photo. The thing is, you still did enough shading that it still feels three-dimensional. You've washed out the area around her nose and in between her eyes, but then the eyes pop much more because of that. So this is one of those things, I'm not sure if it was intentional. If this is intentional, I can understand why you would brighten up that area. So it's hard for me to say whether or not this should be adjusted or not, because I think that even though the skin is not as dark as I typically would go on a portrait, or if you wanted it to look more realistic, it still makes for a beautiful painting or drawing. So it's going to come down to personal preference. If you're going for something that's more realistic and looks less like a drawing, then yeah, I would darken up the skin tones, adjust your values, because you've left a lot of areas white, and when you draw a portrait, the only area that's really going to stay white are going to be the highlights on the eyes. Everything else are going to be varying shades, so you would want to darken this up quite a bit if you're going for a super realistic look. But the thing is, it's not something where I can say one way having something that looks more like a drawing versus something that looks like a photograph, one's better or worse. It depends on what you as the artist wants and what the buyer wants. I've had buyers who preferred that kind of grittier, sketchy look that made it look very obvious that this was an artwork and not a photograph. So it's, again, I can't say one's right or one's wrong, but if you are going for a more realistic look, then I would add a lot more shading on the skin, darken all of the skin tones up quite a bit. But this piece is stunning and a very strong piece all on its own, exactly how you have it. Again, goes back to just depends on what your goals are. Now, my next tip, being that you are new to colored pencil, and again, this goes back to, it depends on what your goals are, but you've got a very gritty feel where it's very obvious that this is colored pencil. Some people, again, will prefer this, some won't. But being that you are new to colored pencil, I do want to give a few tips that other people can take as well if you wanted it to look more like a painting. Mostly I bring it up because they're questions I get all the time. So the first thing, if you want to get your colored pencils to look more realistic, less like a drawing, is to keep your pencils super sharp as you work. What happens is all of the paper have these little grooves, and as you work, the colored pencil just catches the top of those grooves. If your pencil is very sharp, it's more likely to get into each of those little crevices. But with this method, you're just going to use a very light hand, lots and lots of layers. And you still, even with that, most artists still have a little bit of that grainy look, but not much. Now, the second method that you have is using odorless mineral spirits. This is how you often see me work, where it basically kind of dissolves the pigment into the paper, it stains it, so there's no white grain of the paper showing through. This also takes many layers. I have a video that will pop up here showing you how to blend that way, but that is also an option for you, and that again will help you to create more of a painting look versus a drawing look. The last is your burnishing. This is where you push really hard with your pencil. You're damaging the tooth of the paper intentionally, which does prevent you from adding additional layers, but it gets that pigment down into the paper so you don't have a lot of the little white dots. You have to be very careful when you burnish, because once you start burnishing, and I will usually burnish on the last layers of whatever I'm working on, but once you start burnishing, that's about it. You're not going to get many more layers on that paper. But none of these are an issue of one way is right, one way is wrong, this looks bad, this looks good. It's completely personal preference and what your personal goals are. But your work is absolutely amazing. You're so accurate. You're really good with your highlights, your shadows. Great work. And I looked at some of the other work on your website. Beautiful work there too. Thanks for watching. If you're new to my channel, I have new video critiques every Tuesday where I'm critiquing your original paintings or drawings, my own speed paintings, drawings, and tutorials every Wednesday, art Q&A videos each Thursday, and artist vlogs every Saturday. So if you haven't already, I would love for you to subscribe so you don't miss out on anything. And you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google+. All of those social media sites are linked below in the video description, where you can keep up with news, my newest work, and see real-time clips of whatever it is I'm currently working on. I'll see you guys tomorrow.